While this podcast isn't rated explicit, the content may not be suitable for younger listeners. Welcome to Sex for Saints, the Christian couple's guide to great sex. I am your host, certified sex and marriage coach, Amanda Louder. This is episode 312, Level 2 Sex. Welcome to Sex for Saints, a podcast for Christian couples. My goal with this podcast is to help enlighten, educate, and inspire you to understand yourself, your spouse, and your sexuality better. I talk about sex in a way you probably haven't heard before. I'm bold, I'm direct, but I keep everything in line with my strong Christian values. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. So happy to have you here. It is almost spring. I feel like the weather is so crazy right now. Like one day it's 70 and the next day is snowing. I don't know where it is, how it is where you are, but that's what I'm feeling so much these days. If you have not joined my membership yet, you really should. It's awesome. And there's a ton of people joining and are loving it immediately. And they're getting immediate help and immediate changes in their sexual relationship, which I love being a part of and hearing. So I'm still offering my special. If you use the code podcast on checkout, then you get your first month half off, which is only $24.50. And it really can introduce you to the membership in a very affordable way and help you see what is possible. So go to amandalouder.com/membership to learn all about it and sign up. All right. In this episode, we are continuing our discussion from last week where we discussed level 1 sex. Today, we're delving into level 2 sex. Now, level 2 sex is an interesting space to explore. It's that zone where you're not quite at the peak of desire, but you're certainly not in the valley of disinterest either. It's like standing at the edge of a pool, dipping your toe in, but not fully diving in just yet. So what exactly is level 2 sex? Well, it's often still about meeting your spouse's quote unquote needs, but with deeper emotional engagement. It's about recognizing that sex is more than just a physical act. It's about connecting hearts and minds, not just bodies. So in level 2 sex, you may find yourself wanting to be a good wife or a good partner, and I say that in air quotes, wanting to show love and affection to your spouse. There's a desire for mutual enjoyment and pleasure, but there's also a lot of hesitation. You might still be the gatekeeper of sex, controlling when and how it happens, even though you're participating more willingly and happily than before. Now let's talk about what level 2 sex isn't. It's not about going through the motions to fulfill a duty or obligation. It's not about simply satisfying your partner's physical need while ignoring your own. It's not selfish. It's about giving, but perhaps not fully receiving yet. So why do people find themselves in this space? Well, for many, it's a step up from level 1 sex where the quality is better, but there's still a lack of awareness of their own needs for sexual intimacy and expression. It's a place where you're more engaged and more present, but still not fully awakened to your own desires and pleasures. So I have a friend that I was talking to. We met for lunch a few weeks ago, and she was talking about how in the beginning of her marriage, the sex was never bad. Like they both had orgasms, they both enjoyed it, but like she really at the heart of it was doing it more because she thought he needed it. Like she didn't really feel like she needed it in her life, but she was happy to do it and was totally willing, and it wasn't a duty and she wasn't resentful about it. She just thought she was like really being a good wife and loving her husband. But now that she's moved past that into level 3, she's realizing how restrictive it actually was. So the thing about level 2 sex is it's part of the journey. It's really not the destination, at least not for most of us, or where we really want to be. It offers a host of benefits that can greatly enhance both individual well-being and the overall quality of the relationship. So here's some reasons why someone might want to transition to level 2 sex from level 1 sex. There's just an increased satisfaction. Level 2 sex prioritizes mutual pleasure and emotional connection, resulting in a more fulfilling and satisfying experience for both partners. It allows individuals to explore their desires and experience deeper levels of intimacy with their partner. It has improved communication. So moving to level 2 sex requires open and honest communication about desires and boundaries and preferences. And this can lead to better understanding and connection between partners, strengthening the overall bond in the relationship. It also has enhanced intimacy. So level 2 sex fosters a sense of closeness and connection between partners, promoting emotional intimacy alongside physical pleasure. Couples who engage in level 2 sex often report feeling more connected and in tune with each other's needs. It also offers usually greater pleasure. So by prioritizing mutual satisfaction and exploring new techniques and experiences, level 2 sex can lead to increased pleasure and enjoyment for both partners. It allows individuals to fully embrace their own desires and pleasures without guilt or shame. And then there's usually more relationship satisfaction. So a healthy and fulfilling sexual relationship is often correlated with overall relationship satisfaction. So moving to level 2 sex can help strengthen the foundation of the relationship and promote greater happiness and fulfillment for both partners. Now, by itself, level 2 sex can be great. And many couples are happy to live here despite the numerous benefits of level 2 sex. Making the transition can still be challenging for some individuals. So here's some reasons why moving to level 2 sex might be difficult. There's that fear of vulnerability. So engaging in level 2 sex requires vulnerability and openness that level 1 doesn't, which can be intimidating for a lot of people. It may involve stepping outside of your comfort zone and confronting any insecurities or fears that you have about intimacy. It can mean unlearning old habits. So if someone has been very accustomed to level 1 sex for a long time, it can be challenging to break free from those ingrained patterns and belief systems about sex. So moving to level 2 sex requires that you unlearn a lot of old habits and adopt new attitudes and behaviors. And coaching can be really, really helpful for this. There can be communication barriers. So effective communication is really much more essential in level 2. But this can also be difficult for a lot of individuals to express their desires and needs openly and honestly. I was actually just on a coaching call for another program that I coach in, and someone said, we are older in the baby boomers and we have never communicated about sex. Do you see this as a problem? And I said, absolutely, because I'm of the opinion that if you can't talk about it, you shouldn't be doing it. But I understand that that's also really, really hard. So, overcoming those communication barriers and learning to communicate effectively about sex can take time and practice. And this is one of the things that I work on a lot with the couples that I work with in my couples coaching program. The next is resisting societal norms. So society often perpetuates certain norms and expectations around sex, which can make it difficult for individuals to prioritize their own pleasure and needs in the bedroom. So moving to level 2 sex may require challenging these societal norms and embracing a very sex positive mindset. And then it often also involves addressing underlying issues. So with level 1, you're not really addressing those underlying issues, but moving to level 2 may require that you talk about some of these harder things and these underlying issues within the relationship, such as unresolved conflicts or trust issues or emotional barriers. So it may involve seeking support from a professional to get through these issues and create a more fulfilling sexual relationship. But despite the challenges, moving to level 2 sex is achievable with dedication, communication, and a willingness to prioritize intimacy and pleasure in the relationship. It requires both partners to be committed to growth and exploration, but the rewards of a deeper, more satisfying connection make the effort worthwhile. So let's break down this into how men and women can individually contribute to moving towards level 2 sex. So let's start with the men. Men can help by increased emotional engagement. So in level 2 sex, you should be demonstrating a deeper emotional engagement compared to level 1. So you express love, affection, and care for your partner more openly, fostering a stronger emotional connection that will lead to more sexual encounters. There's a willing participation. So in level 2 sex, men participate more willingly and happily compared to level 1. They may initiate sexual activity or respond to their partner's advances with enthusiasm and eagerness, demonstrating a mutual desire for intimacy. Now, I know this sounds counterintuitive because a lot of men are like, wait, I was totally willing during level 1. I just didn't like the sex I was having. But a lot of men, especially if they have been rejected a lot of times, will completely back off. So in level 2, you're understanding that there needs to be willing participation from both parties. The next is communication improvement. So men in level 2 sex tend to communicate more openly and effectively about their desires, boundaries, and preferences. And I would say just in general as well. They may feel more comfortable expressing their needs and actively listening to their partner's desires, leading to a more satisfying sexual experience for both. They're not going to get hurt and shut down when they don't get their own way. So really being open to hearing things. We need to focus on mutual pleasure and enjoyment. So in level 2 sex, there's a greater emphasis on mutual pleasure and enjoyment for men. They prioritize the satisfaction of their partner's needs and desires, seeking to create a mutually fulfilling sexual experience characterized by pleasure and intimacy. So level 1 tend to focus on mostly men's pleasure for the most part. And level 2 is really mutual. Now, a lot of times when we're moving out of level 1 and into level 2, a lot of times it'll flip and men are so focused on women's that they kind of pressure their wives that it should be all about them. Like they really want to give and not make it about themselves, which is good, but it needs to be mutual. And this is, we'll again talk to women about where they need to step up so it can be mutual and it's not just one-sided the other way. Okay. Then there's exploration and experimentation. So men may engage in exploration and experimentation to enhance their sexual experiences in level 2. They may try new techniques, positions, or activities to discover what brings them and their partner pleasure, fostering a sense of excitement and adventure in their sexual relationship. So it's not just about okay, well, I saw this and I want to try this, but really talking about it. And so that both of you can do that exploring and experimentation. Increased awareness of individual needs. So in level 2 sex, men demonstrate a growing awareness of their individual needs for sexual intimacy and expression. They become more attuned to their own desires and boundaries, as well as those of their partner, leading to a deeper understanding of each other's needs and desires. And then there's a shared responsibility. So men in level 2 sex share responsibility for the quality of their sexual relationship. So it's not all on you and men, right? You share it. They recognize that creating a fulfilling sexual connection requires effort and investment from both partners. So it's not just them pushing for it, right? And they actively work together to nurture their intimacy and connection. All right, let's talk about the wives. So women, there is increased emotional engagement from you as well. So a lot of these are going to be the same, but in a slightly different way. So women in level 2 sex demonstrate a deeper emotional engagement compared to level 1. They may express their love, affection, and care for their partner more openly, fostering a stronger emotional connection during sexual encounters. So a lot of women want that emotional connection, but they shut it down when it comes to sex. And so this is where you get a step up in that emotional engagement when it comes to sex, not just outside of sex. Willing participation. So in level 2 sex, women participate more willingly and happily compared to level 1. They may initiate sexual activity or respond to their partner's advances with enthusiasm and eagerness, demonstrating a mutual desire for intimacy. And then communication improvement. So women in level 2 sex tend to communicate more openly and effectively about their desires, boundaries, and preferences. They may feel more comfortable expressing their needs and actively listening to their partner's desires, and leading to a more satisfying sexual experience for both. There's mutual pleasure and enjoyment. So in level 2 sex, there is greater emphasis on mutual pleasure and enjoyment for women. They prioritize the satisfaction of not only their partner's needs and desires, but their own as well, seeking to create a mutually fulfilling sexual experience characterized by pleasure and intimacy. And then exploration and experimentation. So women may engage in exploration and experimentation to enhance their sexual experience in level 2. They may try new techniques and positions or activities to discover what brings them and their partner pleasure, fostering a sense of excitement and adventure in their sexual relationship. They're usually more open to experimenting on their own so they can share their newfound knowledge to enhance the experience with their spouse. There's increased awareness of individual needs. So in level 2 sex, women demonstrate a growing awareness of their individual needs for sexual intimacy and expression. They become more attuned to their own desires and boundaries, as well as those of their partner, leading to a deeper understanding of each other's needs and desires. And shared responsibility. So women in level 2 sex share responsibility for the quality of their sexual relationship. It's not all on him anymore, ladies. They recognize that creating a fulfilling sexual connection requires effort and investment from both partners, and they actively work together to nurture their intimacy and connection. So level 2 sex is a stepping stone towards something deeper and more fulfilling. So if you find yourself in the realm of level 2 sex, know that you're not alone. It's a very common stage in many relationships, but it's also a place of growth and potential. And while level 2 sex represents an improvement from level 1 in terms of emotional engagement and willingness to participate, there can still be some downsides or challenges associated with this stage, like lack of full satisfaction. So despite the increased emotional engagement, level 2 sex may still fall short of providing the deep satisfaction and fulfillment that couples ultimately desire. There may be lingering feelings of dissatisfaction or unmet needs, particularly if one or both partners are not fully present or engaged. There can be some hesitation and inhibition. So in level 2 sex, there may still be lingering hesitation or inhibition, preventing couples from fully letting go and experiencing the full depth of intimacy and pleasure. This hesitancy can stem from unresolved issues, past traumas, or societal conditioning that inhibit authentic expression and vulnerability. There can be some continued role of obligation. So while level 2 sex involves more willingness and participation compared to level 1, there may still be underlying sense of obligation or duty driving sexual encounters. Now, this can lead to feelings of resentment or dissatisfaction if one partner feels pressured to engage in sex despite not fully wanting to. There can be limited exploration and growth. So couples in level 2 may still be hesitant to fully explore their desires and boundaries and experiment with new activities or fantasies. This reluctance can push beyond their comfort zones. Can limit sexual growth and prevent couples from reaching deeper levels of intimacy and connection. There can be unequal participation. So despite improvements in willingness and participation, there might still be disparities in how much each partner contributes to sexual encounters. One partner may still feel like they're doing most of the emotional or physical work, leading to feelings of imbalance or resentment within the relationship. And there's the struggle to move forward. So couples in level 2 sex may find it challenging to progress to level 3, where sex is characterized by a deep emotional and spiritual connection. There may be underlying fears or barriers that prevent them from fully embracing vulnerability and intimacy, keeping them stuck in a state of emotional limbo. So overall, level 2 sex represents a positive step towards deeper intimacy and connection, but it's important for couples to be aware of and address any lingering challenges or downsides that may prevent them from fully experiencing the depth and intimacy and pleasure that they desire. Now, this may involve open communication, willingness to explore new avenues of intimacy, and a commitment to mutual growth and fulfillment within the relationship. So next week, we will talk all about level 3 and how to get there. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. Join me on Instagram where we can continue these discussions. And remember that love is a journey, not a destination. Stay committed, stay passionate, and stay connected. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. If you want to learn how to apply what I teach you on this podcast, I want to invite you to work with me in my Embrace You coaching programs. In my coaching programs, I teach you all of the skills and tools you need to have a better relationship with yourself, your spouse, and your sexuality. You also get weekly coaching to help you apply what you are learning in your own relationship. For more information, go to amandalauder.com and click Get Help in the menu to see my programs for both men and women. Like what you're hearing on this podcast? Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Don't forget to leave me a review and share it with your friends.